Eti for ni ahwefo yemo bibia kwaba so kwan do ba daily update so hana ba benya trending news e koso Ghana for na nyina. Yes, so then the kind of ba subscribe to our channel na afin so wo adwinchi bia bitin about comment section or me ni bit magie pa se bakin kama afin so e mari visual be share more down for so enye bia hwe. Yes, me enko yensem sotin eye Johnny Hughes and Kofo be discussing about a Likee Tv Be Bambabi, Gabambabi. It's not Kofo be our parliament because numbers of my disrespect no. A kaya is Lewis Yebi and my parliament, Bekaya, a brown name, Ojan parliament or Casano, Gambabi a Casano. Now or catching on only cool entity or city. Or city, you need to have a buy. MOBI TV. The information I will to Johnny say he's become Bagbin so at a year Afenyo Markins. I'm an year. I'm Afenyo Markins. The name was Yatanase because Parliament near one moment name say the Omufino Mutios a day won't to me. I'm a year speaking Bagbin so any umbrella Palma. In the ODB and then I'm a from one. About last year, no, or can say, President or so a Adango Fado, or a lame president. Na MIA majority for Ibimbu Pie. On there, no, I can because of say, so meeting now complete or more 8 year no more corner. Without the parliament, no, almost to me incomplete. When you have some more kind of a president, no, so. Didn't a 1 week, and also by reply. Now I will a week and a week. We need information about Petoja, a Johnny Hughes and go for be discussing. So come near to discussions, of course.
The majority to that, so far as debates on the floor are concerned.
Komla, I come to you now and ask the private members bill and the speaker and the president. We'll get into that conversation, but first let's hear this one.
I expect the majority who have a limping majority leader. Limping because when you look at his back, you are less than those in front of you. You have a lame duck president. A lame duck because you have elected a flag bearer. And loyalty and commitments are shifting. So your president is now lame duck president. You need this side of the house to support you to finish your 8 years. And so if you don't behave well, we have a difficulty in proceeding as a nation. Please, I expect you to cooperate. I will not allow them to bully you. That one, you will get sufficient time to put across your case.
Realize that when things change or the tables turn, I mean, it's the same thing, but we must begin to move from that side to where even as your own colleague who you find yourself in the same party with, I mean, you represent the good people of this country and they deserve more.
You think that the people are being shortchanged?
Of course, it's quite clear. And so I wasn't surprised when the speaker made it, but for me, I mean, I wasn't around, but it was Duke who was there, that in the moment Duke put the sound on the page, I listened to it, I said, I will not be surprised the president would throw fire.
He responded.
He responded, I think, after about a week or two. Yes, I mean, a soft one. But we have seen in recent time how the speaker has become frontal, calling out the leadership of the the majority. We've seen instances that, I mean, Afenyo Markins will be on his feet wanting to talk, and the speaker says no, you will not. He has to resume the banter between the speaker and then Esla and all that. Even the majority leader, I think 2 weeks before they went on recess, we have seen all of this. Does it mean that there's something that the majority is doing that is not in conformity with how the rules operate? It also probably means that they take the business of government lightly.
Is it because of society generally views the member of parliament? For example, these new candidates in the orphan constituency, I had Pius and Amajide outlining what he would do for the people of Jamanu, and you will hear a lot more of that. Does that take away the core function of lawmaking and lobbying from them, and the attention to that, to the other things that keeps them away from Parliament?
Primarily, you could see a lot of desperation of most of them wanting to come to Parliament. But they forget that the primary duty of an MP is lawmaking. But beyond that, you can lobby.
When you look at his back, you are less than those in front of you. You have a lame duck president. A lame duck because you have elected a flag bearer. And loyalty and commitments are shifting. So your president is now lame duck president. You need this side of the house to support you to finish your 8 years. And so if you don't behave well, we have a difficulty in proceeding as a nation. Please, I expect you to cooperate. I will not allow them to bully you. That one, you will get sufficient time to put across your case.
Fair comment, Komla.
I mean, it's a controversial one depending on where is it. But my problem largely has to do with the conduct of the majority. You drive the business of the government. The minority is there. I mean, theirs is to assist you. They have nothing to lose. But, I mean, oftentimes we have seen the number of majority MPs, and also because this is even an election year, or last year, you know, a lot of them trying to fight for their seats and all that. Attendance to Parliament has always been a problem. And the problem I have with them is how, I mean, if let's say they are doing about 10 weeks, and the first 6 weeks, virtually they go, there's nothing, they adjourn at 11, they adjourn at 12, there's nothing. And then in the last week where they have to rise, that is where they push a lot of distance. The question is, why do you have to wait to the last minute? And they come and they don't do anything. Surprisingly, if you look at the MPs who even ask the questions, a lot of it is the minority. The majority, hardly would you find them ask. I mean, if you take the other people, say about, let's say the questions are about 12, you can have only about 2 from the majority side. And I find it always mind-boggling that they don't go the extent of wanting to probe the ministers who are a part of them, but it's only the majority. Yes, I mean, over the period, we've also
which way Parliament will go. Article 106 provides that if Parliament can force the hand of the president to do that by passing a 2/3 resolution, working on the things that the president has said. If that is done, the president has no choice but to sign the bill into law. So, yes, which way will Parliament go? Will they unite to exert the force of the legislature against the executive, or as usual, partisanship will carry the day?
Let's adopt a wait-and-see attitude. Did Parliament wow or disappoint you?
Both. Both. And it's interesting that one of the ways that they wowed me, rather an unfortunate situation, but it's a wow. Especially for this 8th Parliament, and I think Duke alluded to it. This is a Parliament that year one, so many ridiculous issues happening on the floor of Parliament by way of attitude on the floor, fisticuffs, fights, you know, from the 7th January debacle, which, by the way, in 3 days' time, we'll be celebrating 3 years of that mess in Parliament. We still don't have
a conclusion on
what has happened on that particular matter. To what happened during the budget period of 2021, 2022, we had similar instances. 2023, none. You know, so that's, for me, for a Parliament that has gained notoriety for some of these very terrible things, it showed that, you know, the institution is learning, or members of Parliament are learning and are getting to realize that citizens do not take kindly to these, you know, kind of things. Of course, we've had instances where Parliament have stood its grounds on certain issues, which would not have been the case if we did not have the numbers situation, the numbers dynamics that we currently have, in Parliament. And that has always been a positive for the 8th Parliament, although in many of the instances also, Parliament ends up disappointing the public on some of these things that they blow quite hot on. Some of the areas of real disappointment for me is that we still going into 2023 and now going into 2024 have still not found Parliament making firm determinations on issues around absentee MPs, that particular issue that is still lingering in Parliament. We still have a situation where we are not hearing anything from Parliament, just like the issue of the 7th January debacle that
There's also the Sputnik V probe. Committee presented his report. The vote was not taken.
And when these things hung, I think that the institution of Parliament and members of Parliament should not think that the general public have forgotten about it. It only goes to worsen the level of reputation that the public have about Parliament, and these things, they can be able to solve them quite easily. Of course, the president vetoing the 3 private members' bills and refusing to accent to them is a big issue. And for me, I hope that we get to discuss more the real implications of that move, and what Parliament intends to do about it in 2024, and what we as citizens, civil society, the media can also do about it in 2024, because it has the potential of completely killing the legislative process that comes through members of Parliament. So this, together with, of course, some of the issues that colleagues have earlier mentioned, are some of the big ticket issues that happen in 2023.
Great. Komla, let me begin with you. Leadership change. There were lots of concerns, really.
But even before I get to the leadership change, just yesterday we had the SP's final relaxation on.
Say some 18 MPs be resign, be MPP 4, be NDC 4, because some could be so eco player, and so on. A break kind semi-brain and social media. So now, you say, didn't see a year MP for Nibia, a soap coya. When you are one almost a monk could be more pat or coy and so and queer momo. Am I MPP at the say, what promise easy for Nibi say, or more 10,000 Ghana cedis each easy. Our representatives are on constituencies or more 10,000 Ghana cedis. I don't know more this kind of cancer now. All crowd sick is saying now it's my come on 10,000 Ghana cedis. It's a more two each would be a Binya says cano. These are fake promises near the idea air cost. I don't know how my MPs for Nibino. I'm going to me in Yasa opportunity and call a parliament. When you are there air cost what is it? People can what can you just come on and good say bye. The idea of come and
the lobby we have seen it. Look, the best friends of Christian Makwata, the Minister of Roads, is the minority MPs. A lot of them are his friends, even though they banter here and there, but they are friends because in every constituency of this country they have issues of roads, and the Minister of Roads is the only minister who was answered the most
questions
that has come to Parliament. So yes, he is the type, he's very accommodative. Forget about the tantrums that he throws here and there, but he's relatively a very nice man if you have to engage him as an MP, and he goes the extent of explaining to you difficulties that he's faced and all that. But how do you go? You promise people that yes, you come, you will fix their roads, you do this, when your primary duty is lawmaking.
But that's where they're seeing their seniors do it. Those they are coming to join, Johnny, they're already seeing them doing the same thing. No,
it is lobbying skills. I haven't seen Chambers. I don't understand to be corrected, but somebody like Chambers, I haven't seen him make a promise of wanting to go and build roads and all that. I remember
silently.
I mean, you represent the good people of this country, and they deserve more.
You think that the people have been shortchanged?
Of course, it's quite clear. And so I wasn't surprised when the speaker made it. But for me, I mean, I wasn't around, but it was Duke who was there. That in the moment Duke put the sound on the page, I listened to it. I said, I will not be surprised the president would throw fire.
He responded.
He responded, I think, after about a week or two. He had to stress himself to get the government to have the contract awarded. But you see, the people do not understand. I mean, all of this. They compare them. Look, if you look at the lives of Okujeto, you ask yourself, how is he able to marshal resources to do the kind of things he's doing? I mean, I do not have the facts that he funds them from his own account, but it is where lobbying is also very important. You find yourself on committees where you are able to meet business people or big people who may have interest in your constituency. You drag them there by virtue of the fact that you are an MP. It is also investment that you are dragging into the place. And so if you have that at the back of your mind, then some of the promises you will not be making them.
See, you wanted to make an
I was just going to add that some of these are the reasons why you have such high attrition rates in Parliament staring us in the face. I mean, Duke gave some of the statistics of 4 NDC MPs, incumbent MPs who did not run, then 16 for the NDC side, 16 who lost their primaries,
they do.
And then 18 on the NPP side, even before the primaries, who are leaving. We know how many. We know that there are going to be many more casualties even after the primaries, are held. If you add all of the numbers together, you would see some very huge numbers wiped off even before the main elections, and we know what the main elections could also bring to the numbers. These things happen because people who are aspiring to become members of parliament go out into the constituencies promising all manner of unrealistic things, telling constituents about things that they know at the time of their campaigning that are not part of the responsibilities of a member of parliament.
Yesterday I saw one of the MPP, the guys aspiring to be MPs. He's promising that every month he will give electoral areas 10,000 cedis per electoral area.
That's why his honorable appointee promise.
No, this is his party. This is within the party.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is honorable.
How much is your salary?
Kind of
how much is your common fund?
Yes.
How much is your monitoring fee for education?
Your salary is even.
How much? So for you to be giving 10,000
so clearly he's setting himself up to fail.
Absolutely. And they do these things only to come to parliament to realize that the dynamics are very different, and that is what contributes to absenteeism in parliament, because the guy looks at his salary, looks at the demands on him, and thinks that I need to probably be pursuing my private businesses and other interests.
He closed the probe.
Yes, exactly. I recall when the issue happened, I was one of the very few who had interviewed him, the MP, and regrettably, I mean, I was thinking that at least for once, even if not him, the majority leader who actually started the issue of somebody, coming to meet them, a businessman coming to meet them, demanding that they relax their stance on Ken Ofori-Atta. At least, I know the majority leader not to be a coward. I mean, he's a man who believes in the things he does and the things he says. Unfortunately, this is where we are. It's one of the disappointments that I have. And I think that this, I mean, if the speaker is minded about this, it's further denting the image of the parliamentary heads as a speaker.
Let's talk about leadership change. There have been concerns. Some people say, well, I mean, timing was good. Others say it was bad timing, given the fact that you were looking at who they were sparring with on the other side in terms of experience on the front bench and all of that. What do you know? What do you say?
I think to some extent the new leadership of the minority, they've given a run for the money of the majority. If you look at how they've composed themselves, how they are uncompromising when it comes to issues that they believe is in the interest of Ghanaians whom they represent. I've also seen how somebody like the minority chief whip over the period yes, he's somebody who I can boldly say, and this can be confirmed by Duke. When Speaker Michael Quay was there, Kwame Govins Agboja and
MP
Frank Arnold Dompre are the most punctual MPs in the 7th and then I think the 8th as we speak. There's no single day that any MP comes to Parliament first before these two, especially the minority chief whip, and he consistently does that. I know, for instance, he gets to Parliament every day at 7:30 a.m. He says he sees no reason why he'll be home and will move after 8, knowing that the traffic where he lives is quite far. So he would rather come and be in the chamber when he says that's the only job that he's doing for now. So at least the punctuality is there. But in terms of the quality of debate, how they've been able to face off with the likes of Che Mensa and then Alexander Afenyo Markins, I mean, we know from the onset they had issues. But I think with time, I was one of the few who said we need to give them time, because irrespective of whatsoever it is, the party they belong to said they have changed them and there's nothing that can be done about it. Yes, the ways and manner in which they were changed, we may not necessarily agree on it. But if it's a decision of their party, well, there's nothing we can do about it. But what is the level of leadership they've been able to exert on?
And that's the question.
Following?
That's the question.
And for me, I mean, a conversation with one of the MPs who was vehemently against the leadership, the current one. And I think one of the things that he said to me was he was surprised that this new leadership, was able to marshal resources for them when they were going for the primaries, and all of them, they benefited from it, which meant that at least they didn't have any ill thought at the back of their head. They have something good thinking about them. But beyond that, most of the things that when they ask them to do, they do it. But there's also the issue about where sometimes they lack experience. You could see there was one of the days where it was a decision that should have been taken, and they stood up. You could see the backbenchers screaming all over the place. They didn't know what was
Those were in the
going
early
on.
days.
Yes, exactly. But after that, I think that they do a lot of consultations with the old one, Muntaka, Haruna, and all that. There's still the talk about the fact that there's still some undertones hearing. But I mean, with the body language that I've seen of them, Dr. Forson, and then the deputy Amabua, and then the chief whip, well, it does show that they are willing to learn, even from the predecessors that they have, and also from the majority side. But there's a lot of respect that they command from the majority side.
Duke, is this a time to learn? I mean, was the timing right for the NDC? I mean, here you're going into an election, you needed to put your acts right. You didn't need that acrimony and cracks in the party and all of that. Did they take the right decision?
Well, as for whether the decision is right, I mean, the jury is still out there, and we would know if, depending on how the NDC does on the parliamentary front in January 7, 2025, going to the 9th Parliament. But as whether the decision is right, the timing for me, I mean, this was more or less like a midterm decision. You've done first 2 years, you have 2 more years to go. So, I mean, if you sit back and you do your analysis for the first 2 years that you have had a hung parliament, an almost near majority, you're at par in terms of the numbers, separated by 1, and you think that you need to change gears going into the next election, which you think it's an election for you to give away, for you to lose. How do you ramp up action on the parliamentary front, right? So for me, the timing was okay, because you have 2 years, you have at least 6 months for the new leadership to grow into their own, and then also going forward, take their own decisions, and then at the same time try and get the people that you've taken out, huge stalwarts, with the exception of Aveji, who decided that he was going to go away on his own. I mean, Muntaka is running against the leader, Haruna.
for any news about to get or say for it. I'm sorry no. Your mama thing. If you say news radio no she. I answer more. I can say Bagbin. We speaker. We am fine opinion and this grand Speaker of Parliament. On the MP near me Speaker of Parliament too. Ye know. Both parties more say. And I say, including other parties, no money are more you say or no one is Speaker of Parliament. Now, it's also money to disrespecting the eye or rise of a can just sit down with my discipline. You just have information, so I use near training plan. In the information I will do now, Afenyo Markins, so I can't just also sit down. I just say, we need information about it. Of course, I cannot do anymore. Now, MPs for any be just say, Omono, Kokra. Intimate to Abanokam Omona, Capacity Omako represent or constituency or a parliament. And we send me breeze or a 10 permanent. May this is some way to do say or content. When you are in check a for drinking and broke conversation of being so within so I say, I'm more than for Sonia Aviation. Subscribe in mine. Any no book and so subscribe here. Ye do be as so by daily of the TV.